wisdom,
prudentia,
justice,
justitia,
temperance,
temperantia,
courage.
fortitudo.
Applying ancient philosophy to modern life, this is the Sunday Stoic.
Hello, fellow practitioners of self-improvement and philosophy. This is Steve with the Sunday Stoic podcast. We are almost done with the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. The last several episodes, we have been working our way through Book 5 of the Meditations. And this week, we are going to hear Marcus really think deeply about his philosophy, connecting his behaviors to the will of the gods, to the way the universe works, reminding him of big picture things as he tries to reflect on his philosophy and stain his soul with the color of that philosophy. The Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 5, number 30. The soul of the universe is of a social disposition. For this reason, it has made the lower part of the creation for the sake of the higher. And as for those beings of the higher rank, it has bound them to each other. You see how admirably things are arranged, and I subordinate accordingly to the dignity of their kind, and cemented together in mutual harmony. Number 31. Recollect how you have behaved yourself all along towards the gods, your parents, brothers, wife, and children, towards your instructors, governors, friends, acquaintances, and servants, whether men can say of you, "He never wronged a man in word or deed." Recollect how much business you have been engaged in, and what you have had strength to endure. And now your task is done, and the history of your life finished. Remember likewise how many fair sights you have seen, and how much of pleasure and pain you have despised, how much glory disregarded, and how often you have done good against evil. Number 32. Why should skill and knowledge be disturbed at the censures of ignorance? But who are these knowing and skillful people? Why, those who are acquainted with the original cause and end of all things, with that reason that pervades the mass of matter, renews the world at certain periods, and governs it through all the lengths of time. So, in the first reading, Marcus is talking about teleology, the idea that the universe is created for something, for a purpose. This concept that there is a divine presence throughout the universe, and things are created in hierarchies, and he talks about how the higher beings are made to be in harmony with one another, and the lower beings are created to serve the higher beings. So we could think of that as, the plants are here for us to eat, and the fish are here for us to eat, and we as humans are here to work with each other, and we are here to serve the gods. And in another way, you could think of it as the lower classes are here to serve the rich, you see. Things like that. Things that folks would have believed throughout history. I think he's wrong personally in the way that it works, but it's a beautiful sentiment in a sense, as long as you don't let it spin into reasons for treating different people differently, which hopefully a modern Stoic would not do. In the next reading, he talks about reflecting back on his life. How has he treated others? How has he treated the gods? His children, his wife, his teachers and tutors, and friends and family, even his slaves. Hopefully, he would have done so in such a way that they would say he was a person who never did or said any wrong to me. I know that that's impossible, but we can try to live that way, where someone can say he was a heck of a good person, in my case, or she was a great individual, a great person, never said a rude word, etc. That's the kind of character we're trying to develop. Not that we won't say strong things if they need to be said, but not out of anger or rudeness, out of a sense of reason and trying to cause the change we hope to see. And then he says, okay, so hopefully you can think back and think, yeah, people, at least I've tried to act in such a way that people would say I was a good person. And remind yourself of all of your accomplishments, what you've had the strength to endure. What deeds have you witnessed? What things have you seen happen? How many times have you yourself overcome pain and pleasure? That's one for me to think about. How often have I really overcome pleasure, or do I always give in to it? Oh, I don't need to eat that block of cheese. Nom, 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 right? Like, that sort of thing. How many times have you withstood pleasure without giving in? How many times have you withstood pain and carried on? These are things that he is holding up as the things you would reflect on your deathbed, things to be proud of. How many times you have not given a crap about honors and awards, and how many discourteous people you have treated well, how many rude people you have treated with respect. He sees all of this as kind of deathbed reflections before you pass away. What would you want to think about? How have you treated others? Hopefully you can say, I treated others pretty well. What they say about me is not up to me, but when I run the simulation in my head, they can say, well, he was not a bad guy. And what have you endured? What have you renounced that needed renouncing? And how did you act towards others, even when they acted poorly towards you? Things to think about. I think that's a good reflection. You might think about journaling about today. I might journal about that today. The last reading, why do you let ignorant minds, why do we let ignorant people confuse us? Why is that? Why do we get on Facebook and everywhere else and then bog our minds down with nonsense that need not be there? And who is it that knows what is actually real? It is the person who understands, according to Marcus Aurelius, kind of the Stoic cosmology, the view of the universe, how it works. It's the person who knows that there is a mind that permeates all things and administers to all the regular cycles through eternity. So what he's saying there is, don't worry about the gobbledygook of the masses. Don't worry about all the stuff people say. Focus on the big picture. There is an all-pervading consciousness of pure reason and good out there, and it is here throughout all the cycles. What he means by that is the Stoics thought that the earth would and the cosmos itself would periodically end and be reborn. It is my understanding that it would play out the exact same way each time, which I think is a little odd and unlikely, but that's what they thought. And according to the great translation, which I wish I could read from, by Robin Waterfield, which I recommend you check out, the Meditations, the annotated edition, the way he describes it is that all the gods would be destroyed as well, except for the one kind of logos god, like the ultimate god. All the other gods are kind of extensions of this god, but the logos would withdraw into itself, much like the inner citadel during the end of the universe, and then return to bring it all back together after the universe has been destroyed. So reflect upon, once again, the beauty of the universe and how it works, whether you see divinity there or just amazing laws of nature, which you could even call divine in that sense. Reflect on how you would like to, what you would like your last reflections to be on your deathbed. How did you treat others? How did you live your philosophy? And remember to not overindulge in social media and things. Don't let the views of the masses contaminate your thinking. Don't wall yourself off and only listen to the opinions of one side of something. Remember that we are trying to focus on reason and logic and live according to nature. Live a life where we apply reason and critical thinking and That doesn't always mean listening to all sides, because sometimes one side is clearly wrong, but it means thinking about things critically. All right, everyone. Happy holidays. I will put out one more quick episode to round out the year, and hopefully see you again next year in 2022. So until then, happy holidays. Seize the day. Live well. Carpe diem.